Hello my beautiful friends, and welcome back to my channel. This is Nova Gnome Creations and I'm Nova, and today we are going to be having a little book look. I am going to be showing you guys what you can expect from this crochet world of creepy creatures and cryptids. 40 plus patterns. It's amigurumi for adorable monsters, mythical beings, and more. So you can see kind of some of the stuff on the cover here. And it is by Ricky Gustafsson, founder of Crocheted by Ricky. So what you can expect from this video is for me to show you a pretty good in-depth look of what you can expect from this book, as far as what patterns are included and kind of my thoughts on how things are written. And I'm not going to be showing you any of the patterns because it is not my property. If you want to get the patterns, you'll have to purchase the book, of course, and I will link it in the description box below on Amazon. I love this sweet little dedication at the beginning of the book. If you want, you can pause to read it, but basically the author dedicates the book to anyone that's going through a hard time and talks about how crochet helped them when they were going through a really hard time, which I think a lot of us can relate to. So I really appreciated that. I like that. Alright, so where better to start than with the table of contents? If you want to pause, you can take a look at the table of contents, but I will be showing you just a little glimpse of everything that's going to be in here, so I'm not going to take the time to sit and read all of it to you. The book starts out with showing some techniques that they recommend, or, you know, like just like advice, I guess. Things about tension, about yarn size, about painting eyes, just, you know, some helpful things that you might find beneficial to look at to make these patterns. The first section is cryptids. This one is, you know, I'll read you the little insert thingy for this. But basically it says, the great debate that has spanned over lifetimes, continents, and cultures. Are cryptids real? The evidence may not be as substantial as some skeptics would like, but hey, it was enough for me to design these elusive creatures for you. And then it talks about which ones are going to be coming up. And the first one that comes up is this adorable Cthulhu, probably one of the cryptids that pops in your mind when you think of a cryptid. If you don't know about Cthulhu, well, you probably know about Cthulhu. This next one is Nessie. Nessie is a personal favorite of mine. That is the Loch Ness Monster. And then we have Mothman. Is this not the cutest little Mothman? It is so adorable. Absolutely adorable. And there's lots of instructions and pictures that go along with each of these patterns. Of course, I'm not going to show all of them. This is the Chupacabra, which is the next one in here in the cryptid section. I'm, you know, covering up the pattern and just trying to give you guys an idea of what is in here. Next up, we have the Jackalope. So adorable. It's basically a jackrabbit with antlers. Oh gosh, this is a sandworm, which makes me think of A Court of Thorns and Roses. And then we have the next chapter, which is man-eaters, something that preys on mankind and eventually gets slain by the hero of the story. The author says, I've always had a soft spot for those monsters and often find them cute, even if they're supposed to be super grotesque. The story of how they came to be and the way that they are is usually the one I find the most intriguing. And then they talk about which man-eaters are going to be in this chapter. One of my personal favorites, the werewolf, which is, you know, a person who becomes a wolf or a werewolf at, like, moonlight. Very fun. Always love werewolf stuff. Then we have a zombie. Very spooky. I like their shading that they did on this. And then next up we have Slender Man. If you guys remember, Slender Man was really popular a few years ago. It was like a creepypasta story. And then we have Nosferatu, which vampires are another big personal favorite of mine. This Nosferatu is really cute. It kind of reminds me of Dobby. And then the next one that we have is a Minotaur. I'm a sucker for Greek mythology, so I love that this is in here. Honestly, this section just speaks to me a lot. I love it. I love the little bull ring. That's so cute. Then we have a cyclops. Very adorable cyclops. He looks like he would be a nice cyclops. And then we have a manticore. This next chapter is Creatures of the Deep. It says, the ocean remains one of Earth's last unknowns, with over 80% of it unexplored. Miles of deep caverns, underwater volcanoes, and potential portals to other worlds. In all seriousness, the oceans are fascinating, even without sprinkling in lore and mythology. However, that's not what this book is about. And then they go into detail on what kind of stuff is going to be coming up. So, of course, first up we have the Kraken. The Kraken had to be in here for Creatures of the Deep. The Kraken is in a lot of, modernized stuff, like think of Pirates of the Caribbean and things like that. So I'm sure that you've heard of it. Obviously, this next one you've definitely heard of, which is a mermaid. Mermaids are definitely very popular and in a lot of stuff. And then we have a Kelpie, which you may not have heard of, actually, but they are water horses. They're from Celtic folklore. They're very, very cool. They're shapeshifters, and I will leave the rest of that you can actually read in the book in the little blurb. This next one is a Grindylow. Spooky. He looks like an angry boy. And then we have a Kappa, or Kappa. They're amphibious water demons. So stinking cute. Cute little demon. And then we have a kaiju. This is another Japanese one. I'm not going to read the blurb on all of these because it would be a very long video, but I'm going to read the blurb on this one just so you can get an idea of the little info that comes along with each pattern. This one says, kaiju come to us from Japanese folklore and mythology. They are fantastic and huge creatures that are said to hail from another dimension that can only be reached from the center of Earth. They can come in so many forms and have so many different abilities, but one thing they all have in common is that the word Titan could definitely be used to describe them. I chose to go with an ocean-dwelling one who can swim faster than anything our world has seen, but it can also stomp around on land, crushing cities beneath its feet. However, our kaiju is very good and wouldn't do the latter. Next up, we have a section called Forest Dwellers, and you guys see that they have a gnome as the picture for this category. I love this Forest Dwellers category. I think it is such a cute little theme. And here we are going to get a little bit more into my opinion on the pattern itself because I'm actually currently working on this pattern. This is Bigfoot. I think that the pattern is pretty beginner friendly and well written. I love the little blurbs at the beginning of the categories, and she does include like technique information for if you're not using like a fuzzy yarn for this one, how to brush out yarn. There's a little box that includes like the materials needed, like what size crochet hook, what type of yarn, safety eyes, polyfill, needle, pins to hold things in place while you sew, scissors, all that stuff. Abbreviations, which are pretty simple, like basic things that you probably are going to know if you know how to crochet. So I would say that these are pretty beginner friendly. There's instructions on how to make each body part, what color to use them all in, or to make them all in, and talking about the assembly process. I'm just kind of like reading it a little bit as I talk about it to give you guys kind of an insight. There aren't a ton of pictures as far as like assembly process goes. That is something I will note compared to like other books or other patterns. They are mostly just pictures of your actual project, like finished project that go along with the patterns. So if if that's like a deal breaker for you, then that's just something to note. However, I do think that the patterns are simple enough that you don't really need pictures of every step, but it is something that I also do like to see when I'm looking at patterns. So just to give like a full, well-rounded, information of what you can expect from this book. And next up, we've got our Know Me little fella. I decided to go with some pictures from further into the pattern rather than right at the beginning, so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about for that one. And next up, we've got a centaur, another very popular mythical creature. Love centaurs. You guys may remember them from Harry Potter and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, I believe, have them. I'm not sure about that one, though. Then we also have a chimera. Chimeras are really interesting. They're from Greek mythology. They have a goat, a dragon, and a serpent's tail, like all mixed into one creature. Very interesting. Then we've got a leshy. This is from Slavic mythology. And next up, we've got the Jersey Devil. This is a New Jersey-based cryptid. Very specific. If any of you guys are native to that area, you'll have to let me know if this is like a popular like lore. So this next category is Mischief Makers, and basically this category they say is, or this chapter is everything meddlesome. So creatures that are tricksters to mankind. The first one we have in here is Medusa. I want to make this one. I think Medusa is such a fun, would be such a fun crochet project. And that one does have pictures of the front and the back of it, by the way. Then we've got a fairy. They did the wings out of felt, it looks like, for this one. And then we have Krampus. Krampus is another really popular one. He is the, like, antithesis of Santa Claus. Like, you know, Santa rewards you for being good, while Krampus punishes you for being bad. And then we have a kitsune, which is a Japanese fox that has like magical powers. You guys may have seen these in anime, like Naruto, for example. Naruto, the nine-tailed fox, it would be a kitsune, which I think is so fun. I really like the lore for these ones. And then we have the traditional goblin, which are greedy little creatures that love to steal gold and jewelry and stuff like that. Very fun, very cute. And next up, we have this artist's rendition of the Boogeyman. I think the Boogeyman is like the first horror story that you hear as a child about the thing hiding under your bed. And then we have Frankenstein's monster, which they actually called Frankenstein's monster. So I give them kudos for not just calling it Frankenstein like most people do. Something I didn't realize until I was much older is that Frankenstein is actually the doctor's name, and the monster is not named Frankenstein. And then we have the Greys, which are like your stereotypical aliens. This one surprised me a little bit. I thought it was a little bit random amongst the rest of them, but this one is Sci-Fi Robot, which I do think is very cute. And then the next category is arguably the most amazing. It is one of them for sure. It is the Winged Beast category. So this is going to be like dragons and gargoyles and, you know, phoenixes and things like that. And the first thing that we start out with is a dragon, which is very classic when you think of a winged beast for sure. Very cute. It's got wings and horns. And then we have a griffin, which have the head of an eagle and the body of a lion. Another infamous one here that you guys have definitely heard about. Even on my own channel, I've talked about the phoenix quite a bit. But it is the bird that rises up from its own ashes and is born anew. There is definitely a lot of inspiration and insight and strength to find in the story of the phoenix. It's just really symbolic, and I think a lot of people can relate. And on the subject of relating, of course, we can all relate to the harpy, which is a half woman, half bird giant. Just kidding. But seriously, another one that you've probably seen, even if you aren't like, you didn't know that was what you were seeing, they like to snatch people up and fly away with them. He was a one-eyed, one-horn, flying purple people eater. So we've got the one-eyed, one-horn, flying purple people eater. That's just straight up a classic. And then we have a gargoyle. Gargoyles have always been a favorite of mine ever since I was a kid. I've always just thought they were so cool because they're like one of like the most ornate and like, I don't know, interesting things on buildings. I always have wished that we still like put gargoyles on buildings, but they were supposed to ward away evil spirits. I feel like when you're thinking of fantasy and kind of making up things, gargoyles are something that anybody can really like create a story of something to do with a gargoyle. You know, maybe actually being alive, actually sitting sentry and coming alive and waking up at night or something. So they're just a fun one. And that, my friends, wraps up a crochet world of creepy creatures and cryptids. I hope you guys enjoyed this book look. Hopefully you found it helpful with deciding, you know, if you want to get the book. Like I said, I will link it down in the description box below in case you're interested in it. It'll just be the Amazon link for it. But I hope you guys have a beautiful day and have fun crocheting. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye, guys.